here we're taking a little bit of a gap. We had to see some customers out on the Vaal Triangle, and we thought we'd come down to Lake Avenue in Deneysville to the Historic Motorcycle Museum at the Lake Avenue Inn. And contrary to popular belief and to waylay any rumors, it is still open, even though through the sad passing of original owner John, everybody was saying that, oh, it's closed down and etc. The Historical Motorcycle Museum in Deneysville is still open and is still as well stocked with a hell of a lot of interesting stuff as they have always been. The restaurant is still going. We had a fantastic cheeseburger. We had a couple of ice cold beverages to sort out the dehydration there. And we take a bit of a walk around this museum, and this is just a little entry section, and there's an old Z13. We've got a Triumph there. We've got a Bimota there. And what have we got? We've got a BSA there. That's a really old BSA. And then there's a whole lot of old historic paraphernalia as well. There's an old 1.1, and a lot of the stuff is for sale. There's an old engine-powered bicycle, essentially a motorcycle. Somebody's taken a B120 and done a full 80s chop on a Suzuki B120 there. And we take a walk around, and there's a CZ125 single-cylinder two-stroke, and the old 76 Goldwing, the original Goldwing. There's a Red Rocket. Looks like a Bimota, something with a Honda K0 engine in it over there. Looks like it maybe. And we're coming at TRX 850, fantastic motorcycles, really one of the most underrated motorcycles around. Then we come here, Honda 404 Super Sport, great motorcycle, these legendary in this day, and still a legend to this day. Let's take a walk along another Bimota. And then if you just take a look along the walls and all the old historic racing, South African racing, I'm going to take you through to the other hall now, and you'll see some of the names you would recognize as bike shops actually these days. We'll take a walk through, but they were actually racing heroes back in the day. Go through here, and then we go into the second hall. The second hall is just amazing, absolutely jam-packed with all sorts of. This was John's pride and joy. We actually featured this in the magazine about 3 years ago, and John actually started it for us. Let's take a walk this way. This is a old Windjammer, old 1100 Goldwing, done more than 1 million kilometers around the world on it. 1,230,000 kilometers, average around there somewhere, and so on and so forth. So let's just take a walk and let's talk about some of those old historic names that we now recognize as bike shop names in the day. So this is also the paraphernalia. Walking through here, and here's also Quack Harris. To the uninitiated, that is Dave Harris. He was a technical manager for Yamaha South Africa for absolutely many years, and he can still, if I'm not mistaken, be seen riding his bicycle up and down the Esplanade down in Durban and the waterfront and etc. So there's old Dave Harris, but we take a walk around this way and come down here. And you start seeing a whole lot of the South African history of racing. So those of you that are too young, you won't recognize names like Roger McCleary. Roger was the voice of motorsport. I can actually hear his voice in my head at the moment, so let's just get close in there. So there's Roger up there on the top. Then we come around there, there's old Mike Haywood, John Boswell, Keith Zeeman Suzuki in the south of Joburg, Les van Breda, South African racing legends, Zeeman and Haywood and Les van Breda, Suzuki and etc. in Springs. There's actually a story in the December issue about van Breda motorcycles. Peter Labuskaghni. If you don't know old racing, you won't know who Peter Labuskaghni was. Paddy Driver. And we go through here and we just have a look at all these absolutely the memories, the memorabilia through here at the Historic Motorcycle Museum in Deneysville is mind-bendingly good. It really is. It's absolutely fantastic stuff. Let's have a look at Jim Redmond, Errol Cowan, Uncle Errol Cowan. Also a well-known motorcycle shop in the south, in the bottom end of Joburg, down towards sort of N Street, around that area. Jim Redmond, fantastic racer back in the day. Master restorer with Pete Moss, he's built some fantastic motorcycles. And then we just take a little bit of a walk around. All those boats that sink with our motorcycles on them, all those cargo ships, these are what these motorcycles end up looking like at the end of the day. All in their containers, all covered in barnacles and etc. Please excuse the flash, it's quite dark in here. Let's take a walk around here. Let's have a look through here. So, old Kawasaki's Z650, fantastic machine. We've got a 754 full race replica. AJS, there's an Ariel, there's a Norton coming up this way. Fantastic, I love old katanas, and this one's an absolutely beautiful example of a 1000 striker. Little Yamaha dirt bike back in the day. I actually used to have one of these jobs. 750 Norton Commander, Norton 750 Commander. When I was about 8 or 9 years old, in the early mid-70s, I helped my old man restore one of these for himself. Then here we come down to Velocette. This is the old rotary valve. Now, rotary valve was the predecessor to one of the technologies for the old two-stroke bikes back in the day. And it was developed by a German lad by the name of Walter Carden. And if you read last month's issue, the November issue of Ride Fast magazine, we've got an article called Stealing Speed. And you can read more about the rotary valve engine and Walter Carden, and quite an amazing story. It actually blew my socks off. Old Vespa, I once bought one of these for 200 Rand and my brother wrote it off, and now they're selling for 40,000 Rand. And that's the way life goes. Triton was a combination of Triton and Norton. And they were quite popular back in South Africa. Another Velocette, come through another Triumph here. Somebody's got hold of a BSA and done a full-on old 60s and 70s chop on it. Old Beamer there, old 1.1 Yamaha, this 11 Special. I actually had one of these as well, called Baby Blue. And then there's various types of there's old 554K. There's a Horrocks, haven't seen one of those in years. Then there's also an 850 Commando, another BSA, another Triton, a whole range of scooters and bicycle with engines powering them up there. And we keep coming along here. I'm running around the outside, around the perimeter of the museum at the moment. There's a 750 Bonneville from way back when. A Matchless. Now, a Matchless and Norton became the same company eventually over time. A lot of you old boys out there will correct me on that in the comments. Here we've got an old Bantam, BSA Bantam Super, which is a 175cc. BSA being Birmingham Small Arms. If you ever watched Peaky Blinders, they actually took over, the Peaky Blinders took over the BSA factory, Birmingham Small Arms. My grandfather was born around about that time and actually worked at Birmingham Small Arms in Birmingham. We've got a Honda, we've got a Bergmeister, another AJS, and then we're going to streak down. There's our German friend, Peter Schluter. Peter, tell me, what do you think of this museum in the middle of nowhere on the dam?
Yeah, hey, nice collection of old bikes, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, some of them. And when I look around, a lot of my friends in the older days had many of these bikes.
Yeah. And I owned a couple of these. I've helped my father restore a bunch of these. So this is bringing back so many memories.
Yeah.
And Peter is from Germany. He's a friend of ours that comes out once a year and drinks all our beer and eats all our food and flirts with all our women. And then also runs 2 magazines. Go watch out on Facebook for Zona Enduro and Hard Enduro World. And you'll see what Peter gets up to. But Peter comes out with us once a year. And he didn't believe places like this actually existed in the world with these kind of things. And we walk down the centre. I'm taking another loop around, but this time we're going through the centre. Let's have a look around there. Just trophies and photographs. Triumph Rocket 3. Come on. Nowadays they're these huge, big 2.5 litre monsters, but that's where it all started. Now here's a brand that's really struggling in this country, and everybody thinks it's a new brand, but it's been around for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. SWM. Have a look on the net, you'll find them locally. Fantastic bikes. Here's an old Butalco. There's a couple of those around here. There's a Greaves. And this over here is one very special machine. A 750cc two-stroke old rocket racing they've got on the side there. But this is what was raced in the 70s and the early 80s. 750cc two-stroke. Can you imagine riding that? Let's take a wander around here. Absolutely beautiful Yamaha 250 there, torque induction. Really? Okay. And the old famous TT500, or actually XT500, let's change it, TT500. A Montesa, looks like a trails bike. Another Bultaco. And then we have a WR200, old two-stroke WR200. That was from the late 90s, early 2000s. Another old BMW, we've got an Adler, we've got an NSU. But yeah, this is the Historic Motorcycle Museum in Deneysville. And you're going to see, you have memories, you're going to see stuff that you haven't seen in 100 million years. Yeah, really, it's just absolutely amazing. You've got to come here. They haven't closed down, they're still going, they're still doing really good business. And we just had a couple of cheeseburgers and a couple of ice cold ones. And for two of us, 2 big cheeseburgers that 2 big fat men battle to finish. And access to the museum, which was only 25 Rand a person, went for $400. That was absolutely nothing. $400 for a great meal, lekker ride out to the Vaal Dam, to Deneysville, and a fantastic walk around a stunning museum. This has to be one of our absolute gems. Get down here, come support these guys. They need your support. We cannot afford to lose this. They need your support so we can keep this going. And there you have the Vaal Dam wall. Sluice gates are open. It is pumping out of there with all the rains that we've had. The dam is so full. And have a look down here. The water is pumping through. The Vaal River in full flood. Look at that, spectacular. Absolutely. We stay in a fantastically beautiful country, a fantastically beautiful province. Gauteng ain't a bad place to be.